Hello again everyone from Tokyo, Japan, and welcome back to Two Wheels in Tokyo. Today I'm just going to be doing a little bit of riding in the neighborhood here of Omotesando and Shibuya. I just brought my daughter to her ballet class, and so got a little bit of time to kill, so I thought it'd be a good chance to make a video. Next week we're going on our summer holiday to America, so I won't be able to make anything until I return, unless I make a video while I'm there, so we'll have to see how that goes. But yeah, it's a very warm day here in Tokyo. About normal, I guess. Last week was quite hot. The week before that was a little bit cool, but we're definitely not near the hot part of the summer, which comes in late July and August. Those days I don't look forward to. It's kind of too hot to get out on my bike. I'm going to get off of the main road, and we're going to be kind of taking the back way down to Harajuku and Cat Street. I'm not going to go to Takeshita Street in Harajuku because today that'll be just insanely crowded. It's kind of a typical neighborhood around here. You can see everything in Tokyo is mixed together. You have shops and stores and residences all mingled together. It's one of the reasons why housing here in Japan, and Tokyo even, is still kind of affordable. There's no zoning here. The positive side, that makes it easy to find an inexpensive place for a home or for a shop or a restaurant. On the negative side, there's no real, theme to the neighborhoods in Tokyo. They just build whatever they feel like building. And it's all right if the people who are building a home have good taste, but if your neighbor builds something which is really hideous, like a house shaped like a penis or something like that, there's really not much you can do. And yes, people have built things like that in Japan. But it's one of the good things. Lots of places to explore in the neighborhoods here. This is Omotesando, and it's kind of a expensive neighborhood, more so than usual. But still, if you hunt around here, you can find a small place for a reasonable price. One thing in Tokyo is that they're always building here, which means it's always noisy. In my neighborhood, I can look out the window at the skyline, and it's changed so much. In the 10 years that we've lived in Roppongi, there are so many new skyscrapers that have been built around the city. It's completely different, and many more going up. Population is declining around Japan, but not in Tokyo. The population here continues to grow because people from other parts of the country come here for work and for entertainment. There's a taxi coming up behind me, and you've got to be really insane to drive a car or a taxi in some of the neighborhoods up ahead. I mean, even riding my bicycle, it can be difficult to get through some of these places yet. Some people are silly enough to try to drive their cars through these places. "150 years ago and before that, this area was tea plantations. turn right on Cat Street here. This is Cat Street. I suppose I should research a little bit about what Cat Street originally was. From the looks of it, it appears to have been either a canal or a streetcar line, which ran to Shibuya station from this part of Omotesando. It's a very popular shopping street with locals and tourists. It's pretty fashionable. Once a month or so, my wife and I and my daughter come down here as part of the volunteer trash pickup. And about, I don't know, 20 or 30 people show up every one Sunday each month early in the morning in front of the Patagonia store, and then walk around and collect whatever trash there might be. We don't find very much. Between 20 people carrying bags. You usually don't find enough trash to fill one bag. That's how clean they usually keep it here. This street is always an ocean of people. I go to New York City fairly regularly, and crowds here are like the busier parts of Broadway, and this isn't even the busiest part of Tokyo. The sound of a Lamborghini, that's pretty common here. It's really annoying. Exotic cars are everywhere in this part of Tokyo. Last week I watched a video where someone was talking about kind of exotic cars they have in their city, or high-end cars or whatever they are. And the next day I decided to just kind of try to keep count of the cars which I saw on a Sunday in the Minato ward here in Tokyo. I saw 9 Ferraris, 7 Lamborghinis, 3 McLarens, a few Rolls Royces and Bentleys. You don't really count those because they're more common. Toyota Centuries, those are the handmade cars which Toyota produces for executives here. They cost about $250,000. $200,000 for the car, or $250,000 for the SUV version. People around here are pretty well off. Smells good. Lots of good places to eat around here. For those who don't know, the city of Tokyo has more Michelin star restaurants than the entire 50 United States combined. I don't know if it's because there are more really good restaurants here or because everyone who works for the Michelin Guide lives in Tokyo. I don't know, but the food here is good. Everyone carries these umbrellas. Yeah. Japanese women are scared to death of getting suntans and sunspots on their skin. Energetic Monster, new store. I have no idea what they sell at Energetic Monsters, probably makeup and accessories and things like that. My daughter's kind of an energetic monster. Oh, that's cool. You don't see that every day. All Saints Infinite Summer Champion. These are all kind of the mid-level stores. The more high-end ones are a little further ahead at Miyashita, which means under the Nia. Ralph Lauren. The better one is over on Omotesando Street itself. Luke's Lobster. I've been there in New York, but I haven't actually eaten at this one yet. Psycho Bunny. That was really popular about 10 years ago. Arizona Freedom. That's a place which sells Indian jewelry and Southwestern American stuff, which is mostly made in China. Oh, Patagonia. That's where we meet. It's kind of a miserable time to pick up trash on Sundays in the summer because even early in the morning it's super hot and humid here. No skateboarding. Skateboard kinji. Kinshi. Not kinshi means not allowed or forbidden or whatever. Most people in Japan will not do anything which is kinshi, except for maybe smoking on the sidewalks. That's illegal everywhere here in Tokyo, but everyone that still does it. Up ahead is Shibuya. We'll take a ride through there. Shibuya is becoming more crazy, if that's possible. It's more popular with the locals and more popular with the tourists. Here are the better shops. Prada, Balenciaga, Gucci, Louis Vuitton. Of course, the yen is really weak relative to the dollar. And if you're a careful shopper, you can find some pretty good deals on this high-end stuff here in Japan. Downtown. Starbucks, there's like one on every corner around here. Meiji Dori Avenue. I mean, Dori already means street, so it's kind of like Meiji Street Avenue. The people who translate Japanese signs into English in Japan are the kind of people who learned English in the public schools here in Japan, taught by Japanese English teachers who don't really know how to speak English. But anyway, it's good for laughs. The Freeman Cafe. And the tourist buses. There's so many tourists here nowadays. Ramburu Square. The dog talking on the ad is Hachiko, the famous dog of Shibuya. I don't know if the dog made Shibuya famous or Shibuya made the dog famous. I guess it doesn't really matter. Both are famous nowadays. So up ahead is the Times Square of Japan, but without the annoying characters who try to harass you into paying for pictures with them, and without the smell of marijuana or the violence or fights or heavily armed police. I like New York and I like Times Square, but I'm glad I live in a place here where things are much less crazy. I'm curious to see what this is going to look like if and when they ever finish the construction here. That's a big if, because by the time they finish a series of buildings, the oldest of these buildings is obsolete, and it's about time to rebuild it. I'll be crazy and I'm going to cross with the pedestrians. It's not as busy here as it would be in the evening. I would like to go and get a picture over by Hachiko, but that's so crowded it's not really possible. Mario Karts. There used to be one company that ran the Mario Kart business here, and they were always getting in trouble with the Nintendo company over copyright infringement. And now there's like 5 of these companies, and these Mario Karts are everywhere. Alrighty, here we go. Busiest night of the year here is Halloween night. And that's probably the only time that this place comes close to the actual, I don't know, Times Square kind of crowd. So many foreigners here, and half of the Asians here aren't Japanese. Shibuya highball bar. Don't need a highball now. That's the popular drink in Japan. The highball. You can buy it in cans here. I'm not much of a drinker. A lot of my ancestry is Native American, and I grew up in New Mexico in a world of alcoholics, so for obvious reasons I avoid drinking to excess. I don't hear any Japanese being spoken. Oh, there was someone speaking Japanese. Honto da yo. That's really true. A lot of Taiwanese here. Taiwan is close, and Japan and Taiwan have fairly close relations, and it's a lot of traveling back and forth. Ooh, Outback. I like Outback. The one near my home closed during the pandemic. It's not that it closed because it was forced to close, because in Japan there weren't really any mandates forcing anyone to close, and there were no rules against eating indoors in restaurants, but a lot of people, for safety's sake, decided to try not to go out as much. And restaurants in Japan, especially here in Tokyo, tend to rely on high volume to pay their rent, especially where I live in Roppongi. And so, yeah, they didn't survive, but at least the one here in Shibuya is still around. I don't like riding on the sidewalks. But sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. This is about as dirty a place as you're going to see in Tokyo. It's not that they don't try to keep it clean, but that there's so many tourists and so many people here, it's hard to keep up. It's an onigiri shop with a long line. Onigiri is a rice ball. That one's pretty famous. I'm not an onigiri connoisseur, I just buy them at 7-Eleven. Or better yet, Lawson has better ones. The ones at Lawson, I like the taste of the rice better. It's better than 7-Eleven. Yeah, it's noisy here. Up here is the Seibu department store with those walkways which go across. That's kind of one of the next things that's going to be knocked down and rebuilt, because that's like a hideous, ugly building from the 1960s. It's where my wife likes to get her, what is it, pantyhose. There's a brand which she prefers, and they only sell it at Seibu. Yeah, it's crowded here today. I hope I can get across while the light's still green, but all these people are walking toward Harajuku on the Yoyogi side. All right, I made it. Flexible office. It's one of these places where you can rent flexible office space. One of the last of the old food and drink areas, these tiny little bars. Torando, Pistro, Grobaru. Nombe Machi. Little restaurants and bars. They have living quarters on top. These are things which were built in the Showa era after the war. Shohei Ohtani, most famous Japanese right now. Hey, Mario, hello. Bijobu. I'm riding a different bicycle than usual. It's actually the bicycle which I've probably ridden the most. This is my wife's bike, actually. It's what they call mamachari in Japan, which housewives usually use for carrying kids and running errands. I bought this for my wife 10 years ago. It's a Panasonic power assist bike. And when I bought it for her, I didn't expect that I would be using it 99% of the time. But that's how it turned out. Alrighty. Trying to sneak around here and avoid the people. They don't leave a lot of room to get by on the shoulder sometimes. Even though it's marked as a bike path, in Japan they have all these what they call bike paths. And they don't really mean anything because cars can drive on them or park on them. Delivery trucks can park on them. Basically, they just put them down to say that they built a lot of bike-friendly infrastructure in Tokyo when they haven't really. Not that it matters, because riding a bike here is really safe. I don't worry about it. There's another Ferrari over there. That's maybe the fourth one I've seen today. But yeah, you can ride on the street here, you can ride on the sidewalk, and we don't have time. That's what she's telling her kid. Wow, it's flying now. This bike isn't very fast. STI. Another STI. Wow, 2 in a row. Same color even. .911, that's what I'd like to have, but with a kid and a dog, a 911 is kind of out of the question, and we can't afford 2 parking spaces here. I mean, 1 parking space in Tokyo is maybe a little less than the monthly payment on a 911. It's like we own the condominium, but not the parking, and the parking, of course, is additional. I know I would like to have a car like that. I have to think, like, what is the point? I hate driving in Tokyo, and that car is not exactly the most comfortable car to spend hours commuting through Tokyo traffic. As you can tell, it's much easier to ride. Ooh, old Skyline. GTR. Ooh. Don't see many of those, not even in Japan. When most people think of like a Nissan GTR, they think of the one that's being sold right now. They don't realize that the GTR has been around for a really long time. All in change. What time is it? 11:23. Ballet ends at 1 o'clock, so I still have some time to spend here. Todd's Shoes is in the building on the left. My wife goes there every year for their big New Year's sale. She loves Todd's Shoes. Oh, here's a new Toyota Century, $200,000. Ni oku yen. Tokyo Union Church. Churches in Tokyo are not very busy. This guy's waiting for an opening to get through. That's going to take till who knows when. License plate, Narashino. It's in Chiba. That's where I got my first driver's license in Japan. Getting a driver's license in Japan is hard. You have to go to driving school here. Driving school, if you take the usual process, it takes about 90 days because there's a huge amount of 200 questions on the driving test, and they make it very difficult, and then about half of the people fail the first time they take it, and then you have to go to a driver safety training course where you have to drive in a car simulator, and then you have to get a first aid and CPR certification. And all this costs about 300,000 yen, which at the time was about $3,000. That's a lot of money for a driver's license to drive a car. And that doesn't even count the driving test, which you have to pay like 3,000 yen to take the test, and you have to pay another 3,000 yen for the license itself. And like the written test, no one passes the driving test on the first attempt. A lot of people don't pass on the second attempt. Many don't pass on the third attempt, and more than a few never pass at all. And you would think that license being so hard to get, that people would be better drivers here. It might not be the right thing to say, but living in a country full of Asian drivers makes driving difficult. No one is in a hurry here, which isn't always a bad thing. It's like people are always in a hurry when they're driving in America. driving too fast and driving erratically and aggressively. It doesn't happen here, but like in Japan, like other countries, they have a fast lane and a slow lane on the highways. And here people don't really distinguish. They just get in whatever lane they feel like and drive slow, which for someone who's driven many years in America, it's one of my pet peeves. People driving slow in the fast lane. I'll go around on this side because these guys will take forever to turn. Funny glass building with a Dior store opened just last year. Took them a long time to build. There used to be ugly abandoned department store and a place called Condomania where you could buy customized condoms. They still have those stores, but just not in this location anymore. Building on the left here, this funny looking gray structure with the angled windows. That was housing for the 1964 Olympics. And the location here is completely awesome. It's right here at the top of Omotesando Street, across from Harajuku, and right by Yoyogi Park. You couldn't ask for a better place. I'm going to go through, no one's coming behind me, I'm going to sneak through here to Harajuku Bridge. This place used to be pretty cool. 20 years ago, this was one of the most popular spots to visit in Tokyo. And people used to come here to listen to music. Around the park there were lots of bands, rock bands. Little 3- and 4-man groups who would come here and perform. And they would bring a generator and their amps and electric guitars and drum kit and scare the hell out of the wildlife in the area. It was a lot of fun to watch. Oh, one performer. There used to be many. Yoyogi Park. It's where I like to come cycling on the weekends. My first video on this channel some time ago was the cherry blossoms here at Yoyogi Park. They're doing some remodeling work here in the park. The avenue of fountains in the middle is being either renovated or replaced. I hope it's being replaced because it wasn't all that interesting. It's kind of like a copy of the one in Ueno Park. This park has a lot of interesting history which even Japanese people aren't aware of. The first interesting piece of history is that this used to be an airfield a century ago, and this was the location of the first flight in Japan. The very first aircraft which was flown in Japan took off from inside this park and landed a few minutes later. And the aeronautic history continued. This was the location of the first Japan Airlines flight. Japan Airlines, of course, being the big airline, the one that the Prime Minister uses when he travels. Yeah, this is where they're rebuilding the fountain. This is all messed up. Didn't really want to go this way, but I guess I can go around. As it's the weekend, they're having some kind of something over at the NHK Studios, which is over to the left. Okay. Yeah, they just made this. It wasn't here a couple of weeks ago. Interesting. But, Japan Airlines had its image severely tarnished here in Japan some years ago when it went bankrupt, which is a huge cultural and social no-no in Japan. Going bankrupt in Japan isn't like in other places. Here it's a big deal. If you're a private person and you go bankrupt in Japan, the repercussions are serious. The first thing is that you lose your right to vote, which sounds crazy, but that's a fact. And besides losing your right to vote, you can't get a guarantor or be bonded, which means that you can't qualify for a full-time job. And you have to wait the usual number of years, 10 or 12 years, whatever it is, until the period expires. And then you become a touchable person again. This is the monument up here. This is Japan's Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, the place where the first flight was performed, which is what the kanji there says, written the old style from right to left. And the sign here says no skateboarding. And for a while that was kind of an issue, skateboarders and BMX riders kind of running and doing stunts on the monument here. Not very nice of them. But it's so beautiful here today. I love this season when everything is really green, but the heat and humidity haven't hit yet, and the semis, cicadas, however you pronounce it, aren't screaming their heads off, because it gets really deafening on that season here. We'll go up this way. This is the untrodden path of the park for the most part. There's some homeless encampments here. There's one over on the right. Extremely few homeless in Japan compared to other countries because we don't have drugs here. No drugs means no addiction. No addiction means people aren't helpless and they're able to work and keep themselves housed. The homeless we have here at the park, there are a couple of kinds of them. Half of them are alcoholics, because alcoholism is a big problem in Japan. And the other half are just antisocial people who don't want to fit in. And anyone who knows anything about Japan knows that fitting in is very important here. The old expression from school, the nail which sticks out gets hammered down. These guys are all nails who stick out, and they don't want to get hammered down, so they just live on the fringe of society or outside society. Beautiful flowers there, hydrangeas. This is the season for hydrangeas, and Tokyo is famous for them. I live by Hinokicho Park, and Hinokicho Park is very famous for its hydrangeas.
Manchmal musst du nur irgendwie
Cycling course. Well, I'm going to turn around and follow the cycling course since I'm cycling. I've ridden this cycling course countless times. It's 2 kilometers long and runs through the back end of Yoyogi Park here. And normally I ride here 2 days a week, sometimes 3 days a week. And my usual ride around this course is 70 kilometers. So that'd be 35 laps. And I try to go fast because I want to get a good workout. And according to Strava, which I really like Strava, I am the all-time fastest rider on this course for my age group, and I think now I'm the 5th or 6th spot, 5 or 6 spots away from the KOM, King of the Mountain, for this course. Normally I fly around here, and these corners here, I often drag my pedals as I'm going around because I'm going fast enough that I have to lean forward, and it feels kind of funny to ride along here slowly. But I like to ride here for a couple of reasons. First, it's not far from where I live, so I can get here quickly. And I can get back quickly if I get tired or run down or bonk or whatever. Another reason I like it is because of the shade. In the hotter months here, I mean, the heat and humidity in Japan is ridiculous. I love to ride out to the countryside, out along the river, Arakawa River, or the Hiruma River, or the Tone River, but that's all out in the heat of the sun. And besides being dangerous from being out in the sun, it really wears me out to ride for 5 or 6 or 7 hours in the Japanese summer in the sun. So here I can do, I often ride 100 kilometers in this park. And here I can do it without risk of heat exhaustion or heat stroke. Plus, there are lots of restrooms here and places to eat and drink. Now, besides being the location of Japan's first flight, and I guess first airfield, after the war, this park was turned into a housing subdivision for the American occupation forces. In the early years after the war, Japan was pretty much American territory and was run under an American military administration. And many Americans came to work in this administration, and they were housed around here. And what they did is they just cleared out the park and they built very typical looking American subdivisions, which you know, of the kind you see like in Los Angeles, the ones built in the 40s, just kind of ranch style homes with front and back yards and driveways for the cars, and a series of streets named after presidents and generals. It was very American, and if you were to wander into this neighborhood in those days, you would think you were in America. And then Japan regained its sovereignty and the American administration left, and Japan, preferring to return the area to its original, I guess, condition, they bulldozed all the homes and neighborhoods which were here and used the rubble and debris to make the little hills and stuff, which I'm riding around and over right now. And they planted a bunch of trees, and the park now looks the way it looks. Over on this side, over to the left, is a bird sanctuary. That's what the rope here says, to keep out, because there are cranes and other birds which like to come here in their season and hang out. Mercury Hashiro, speedo. Watch your speed, don't go too fast. It's very beautiful around here. A couple of years ago, some young tourists were caught smoking something which is illegal in Japan over in this corner of the park. And that's not something you want to do in Japan, because penalties and consequences are severe. And though it's never happened since, from time to time the police wander around in this part of the park looking, hoping to catch tourists doing stuff which they shouldn't be doing. The sign here says cycling course Hodo Kinshi, which means this is the cycling course. Cycling course is pretty obvious to understand. Hodosha means pedestrian, and Kinshi, like I said before, means not allowed. So you're not allowed to walk or jog on the cycling course here. And it always annoys me when I'm riding around here in a hurry when tourists wander onto it. Especially if I'm like trying to break a record time or something like that. Up here is the cycling center, and you can rent a bicycle here very reasonably for riding around the park. When I come here, if I'm going to be working out hard, I try to come here on Mondays because the cycling center is closed, and so there are no tourists and no kids on the cycling course. But looking now, it's 12:47, and I've got to pick up my daughter in about 13 minutes. Let's see, how quickly can I get back? Didn't take so long to get here to this point. I never come here on the weekends because this place is completely full of joggers. And I mean lots and lots and lots of joggers. There are teams of them, and they're fixies. Yeah, the fixie culture is very strong here in Japan. I put one together back, I think it was 2008 or so, and found I didn't like it. I tried riding as a actual fixed gear bike, and I found that it was hard on my knees, which normally cycling isn't. And track bikes are heavy because track riders are strong, sprinters are strong. They really push and twist on a bike and can break things. So track bikes are built more ruggedly than road bikes. So despite the fact that they have no derailleurs, no brakes, no brake levers or cables or any of that nonsense, they're heavier than a similar road bike. And so I got a freewheel for the bike, so it wasn't a fixed gear anymore. But still, I never got along with it. So I ended up, I was going to sell it, but someone saved me the trouble of selling it by stealing it. And yes, people steal bikes here in Tokyo. It's rare, but it happens. It's happened to me twice. They stole my Vivalo single speed, and they stole a Brompton, which I missed much more. All right. Take the shortcut around here. There's a pretty nice bike. Most days in the afternoon, there's a guy who comes here to this park. He's a tall and lean Japanese man, and he dresses up as Douglas MacArthur. And he comes here in full World War II style uniform with the hat and the pipe and the stars and medals and all that, and walks around and talks stuff and attracts a lot of attention. Japan's a weird place sometimes. I guess it's his way of breaking out of the box and expressing himself, which a lot of people in Japan feel I guess they have an urge to do it from time to time. Right, light's green. It's not a bad impression of John Fogerty there. I want to know. Well, light's green now, but it may not continue to be green. Oh. All right, yeah, we'll make it. Harajuku in all its absurd glory. It smells good. It smells like flowers out here. And when it doesn't smell like flowers, it smells like shoyu, which is soy sauce, or smells like barbecue, which I prefer over the smell of soy sauce. I want to make this light green. This bike is slow. Integration with American culture, completion of Harajuku Central Apartments. All right. What I like most about that building is Bill's Restaurant, which is really awesome. If you come here and you can endure waiting in line for 45 minutes or so, you really have to have their ricotta pancakes. They are one of the most amazing things I've ever had. These loop scooters are a hazard on the roads here. Japanese people hate them. They're popular with tourists and I guess people like this guy. You need a license to rent one. That's why it has a license plate on it. And since it's a battery-powered vehicle with a license plate, it has to be operated like a motor vehicle, which means you have to obey the rules of the road. You can't ride it on the sidewalks. You can't ride it across crosswalks. You can't go two ways on a one-way street. And you certainly can't drive it on the highway. The people who rent these scooters do all of these things. And in Japan, where people follow the rules, except for smoking in public, they get really offended by these things. And they've been complaining endlessly to the government to crack down on these scooters. And the police have been cracking down. They are catching them when they can, and impound lots here are full of these loop scooters, and tourists are finding out the hard way how much a traffic violation costs in Japan. Up the hill. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and end this video now. I think it's been more than an hour, and probably the battery isn't going to last much longer in my camera here. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and as I said, I'll be going to America in a few days for a couple of weeks, and hopefully I'll have a chance to make a video there. If not, I'll make one when I come back. Oh, parking up here is open again. Yay, this is my favorite parking spot on those days when I have to drive here. Anyway, I'll see you again from there, or I'll see you again from here. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you come back again soon.